Hey everybody, welcome to Board Online, Board Offline. Today we're doing, yet again, our top 70 best games of all time. As you can see, things are a little different. I'm not in my normal recording space. I am on vacation, and I've had this list created since May. If I don't go ahead and do it, it's not going to get done. So we're going to record it differently than we ever have before and knock out 10 at a time while I'm on vacation. It's a little bit windy today. I think it won't be a problem, especially in post. I should be able to take care of most of that. So if it ends up being too much, I do apologize. But today we're going through numbers 60 through 51. Now, this is, I've played almost 400 different games, so the top 70 represents a little bit more than 20%, or a little bit less than 20% of my total games that I've played. So with anything else, let's get right into it. Number 60 is Tales from the Loop, the board game. Now, this is based off of, I believe, a book that was also turned into a television show. The original series, the original book, the original product was set in, I believe, Sweden, or either Sweden or Switzerland, which the board game is as well. And you play as middle school kids who are in their time away from school trying to solve these various mysteries. But you literally have to set aside time for homework. You have to set aside, if you end up doing something that ticks off your parents, you get grounded. And so that's going to eat into the time you have to solve these mysteries. A lot of really cool mechanisms that I hadn't seen in a game before. There's these robots that wander around that you have to deal with and, either avoid or hack into them so they're not, affecting you negatively. Really cool concept, and I think a pretty good execution. That's Tales from the Loop. Number 59 is Dead Men Tell No Tales. Dead Men Tell No Tales. This is a game where essentially I think you're a pirate as well, but there's a pirate ship that is on fire and sinking, and you're raiding it to try to get the treasure off of it. But also there are tons of skeletons, and it's kind of a skeleton type crew of the other pirate ship, and so you're fighting off these skeletons. It's got a real feel of Pandemic to it. But it has kind of like, imagine Pandemic crossed with Flashpoint Fire Rescue. That's sort of the feel that I think of whenever I play Dead Men Tell No Tales. And, because the ship's on fire, like I said, the fire is spreading. You got to deal with that. You got to deal with the skeletons, too, that are all over the ship. And meanwhile, you're trying to secure treasure, I believe, and then escape the ship. So that's number 59, Dead Men Tell No Tales. Number 58 is Doomlings. Super simple card game to get into. It's got so many cool ideas. Essentially, like theme-wise, you're building a species that is going to be fairly short-lived because by the end of the game, the apocalypse happens. However, really what you're doing is set collection and card actions and various card play. And I have, I believe, every expansion for it at this point. So I have a ton of different types of Doomlings in the deck. But as you're building it out, you're stealing Doomlings from other players. You're making your Doomlings hard to steal from. You're building up points. You could focus on immediate right now points or focus on in-game points that are kind of in flux. Lots of different ideas and concepts and how the different factions of Doomlings are created in the different expansions. That's Doomlings number 58. Number 57 is Roam and Roll. Roam and Roll is set in Rome, and it's a fairly complex roll and write. I'd say prior to Hadrian's Wall, it was the most complex roll and write I played, even though Hadrian's Wall is really more of a flip and write. That's neither here nor there. Point is, in Roman Roll, every player has their own board for keeping track of kind of their stats and stuff, and they each are a different leader who's building up Rome. But then the in the center of the play area is a common board where you're drawing the buildings that you're going to be building. Now, I say drawing the buildings, you're just drawing polyomino shapes, and so it's not like you have to be an artist. You just have to be able to draw a square or a rectangle or something like that. But you put the building on the board and then kind of color it in with your color so you know it's yours, or put your initials in it or whatever. And you, by the end of the game, you're seeing who has essentially scored the most points by being the most productive at building Rome. Number 56 is Dale of Merchants. Now, this is the entire Dale of Merchants collection. I have the whole set right now that, as far as I know, nothing else has come out since I got it, which is Dale of Merchants 1, 2, 3, and Dale of Merchants Collection, I believe is what that final piece was called there. And this is a game where every game you're going to choose only a few, depending on the number of players, a few different factions from the different sets to put together. And they're all rated with complexity and how much they mess with other players and how, all this kind of stuff. And so you put them together into a deck, and then you're essentially trying to collect a set from 1 through, is it either 6 or 8? I think 1 through 6, and trying to build out this set of items as you go, because you're essentially a merchant trying to sell these items. Every faction has its own unique thing going on. So many different combinations. A really cool game, Dale of Merchants. Number 55, Peacemakers, Horrors of War, from the same people that make Dale of Merchants. Sammy Lotsko. And Peacemaker's Horrors of War is kind of a spiritual successor to I can't remember the original version of the game. Anyway, in this one you are these individuals who are going around trying to bring an end to a conflict that's occurring between these warring factions. But a lot of the way that you're going to do that is by decreasing the morale on both sides of the conflict. And so this may involve, you being responsible for deaths on each side of the conflict, which is not something you're particularly fond of, which is why it's called the Horrors of War. It can actually negatively affect you as you're doing these things, but you're trying to drive down the morale until they both kind of reach a point where they don't want to fight anymore. That's Peacemaker's Horrors of War. Number 54 is Euphoria. This is essentially a game where you are living in a dystopia, and at the beginning of the game you have discovered that you're in a dystopia, and so you're trying to essentially decide if you're going to find your way out and live separate from the society, or if you're going to kind of build up your quality of life within the society, essentially. And there's 4 factions that you're kind of messing with and kind of playing them against each other. And one of the factions is kind of embedded in the society. Another one lives underground. Another one lives outside in the wastelands. Another one lives up in the clouds. That type of thing. And so you're kind of playing them against each other. You can hire people from each faction. Your individual workers are dice, but here's kind of the kicker: is if the number on the dice is the level of knowledge the worker has. If your total knowledge amongst your workers ever gets too high, then the smartest, the most knowledgeable, realizes what's going on and flees and runs away, and you lose that worker. So that is Euphoria. Number 53, Lords of Waterdeep. This is very frequently referred to as sort of one of the best intro to worker placement games there is. Lords of Waterdeep is based in Dungeons and Dragons universe. You are one of the Lords of Waterdeep, the city of Waterdeep, and you're hiring different mercenaries. You've got rogues and fighters and clerics and wizards, I believe, which really amount to black, white, purple, and orange cubes. But you're hiring them to do different tasks around the city and outside the city, send them on these quests. The quests then provide you with victory points, which represent, how favorable you're viewed within the city. And also a lot of times, the quest will provide you with additional workers and all this kind of stuff. And or different mercenaries. And so you're sending them about doing these different things, and that is how you win the game. Lords of Waterdeep. That number 52 is Seventh Continent. This is the epitome of an exploration adventure game where you are going around this island. You don't even know exactly what it is you're trying to accomplish when you first start playing this game. No clue. You discover the goal as you're playing, as you're going around, wandering around, trying to figure it out. And the deck that you use for your actions also represents your life or your life force. And so as you burn through this deck, you're essentially burning through your survival as well. And so then you're going to try to find ways to restore the deck through hunting and eating. All of those have their own complications as well. Very, very intriguing mystery adventure type game. Love it a lot. That is Seventh Continent. Number 51 is Pandemic, the original version of Pandemic. This is kind of the quintessential, in some ways, the original cooperative game. There were cooperative games before, but this is the one that really brought them to the mainstream. And so in Pandemic, you are one of 4 different scientists. It's either like scientists or quarantine specialists or researchers. Lots of different characters for you to play as, each with their own, unique powers you might expect. And you have 4 different diseases rampaging across the world that you're trying to take care of, and you need to discover the cure for each of them to win the game. But once you find the cure, if you're lucky, you can also eradicate a disease or 2 from the world, which makes your job a lot easier. That is Pandemic, my number 51. All right, so thank you so much for hanging out. We are going to keep rattling these off. I should get all of the rest of them done by the time I am out of here, and so then I can get these videos posted pretty quickly. And y'all have a fantastic day. Be sure to come back for the rest of these videos. And until next time, if you're bored online, bored offline.